She said, Eli was my dad. I think your father is one of my guardian angels. Because he's standing in the corner over here. It was in that moment, again, knowing that, or believing that I was higher than she was, and I didn't see these people. It was in that moment that I started to believe that we did have guardian angels here, that we are guided by our loved ones. Hey everyone, tonight I'm going to go down the Ren rabbit hole a little bit further. I didn't realize there was so many out here on YouTube that I hadn't yet heard. This one's called Mackay. It came out over a year ago. Says it's a tribute for one of his best friends, Callum Mackay. For a long time, I wanted to write him a song, but every time I sat down, I couldn't think of the right words, which left me feeling frustrated. Callum died very shortly after Joe, another very dear friend. Trying to process both created a bit of a block, and to be honest, ever since, I haven't really been able to fully grieve whenever I lose someone close to me. One day while I sat at a piano, I was playing around with melodies, and this came out. Sometimes I don't have words to explain or express the thing that wants to be expressed. In those moments, I'm so grateful for music. And this is for you, Callum Mackay. Rip, homie. Such a beautiful setting. Those mountains are amazing. I'll try to break this down as we go. Sounds like it might get a little bit of emotional for me. But let's see where it takes us. Callum Mackay, 1989 to 2011. Love and miss you always. That was beautiful. I can relate to what he wrote there about not being able to grieve. In 2014, on December 28th, 3 days after Christmas, I lost my mom to lung cancer. At the time, I was deep into my addiction. And even though she had a morphine drip, for the 3 days I stayed with her, I felt like I was higher than she was. While I was there in the hospital with her, she told me that my grandfather was down the hall and that he wanted to talk to me. Her room was at the end of the hall, so the direction in which she was trying to send me didn't exist. My grandfather had been gone, and I was close to my grandfather. He'd been gone for quite some time at that point. At one time, she asked me who the man was standing in the corner at the end of her bed. And when I looked over, I knew there was nobody there. And I said, I don't know, Mom. Who do you see? And at that point, she asked my father, how old was your father when he passed away? And if I remember right, he said 54. And she said, Eli was my dad. I think your father is one of my guardian angels, because he's standing in the corner over here. It was in that moment, again, knowing that, or believing that I was higher than she was, and I didn't see these people. It was in that moment that I started to believe that we did have guardian angels here, that we are guided by our loved ones. Because of my situation, because my wife at the time was close with my mother as well, because I had brothers and a sister and my father and then my children. I felt I had to be the man, you know. I felt I had to be there to support and be the shoulder for all of them. I couldn't grieve for a loss at that time. It was 4 years later before I went to rehab. And about a year after, I lost my grandmother. And again, I was close with my grandmother. But this time I was sober. At that point, I found myself grieving for both of them. Years apart. But I grieved them both. And I was happy that I was able to do that. Being a man doesn't mean that we can't grieve, that we can't have feelings, that we can't shed a tear. Ren has brought me to tears many times. And I appreciate him for that. I think we need to teach our children that it's okay to not be okay all the time. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel. And it's okay to take time for whatever it is you need so that we can be healthy. Ren, I just want to say thank you for that song. I kept waiting for lyrics, but you left it open for me to feel what I was feeling and remember the losses that I had. And allowed me to relate to you in that way. If you appreciate what I do, hit that like. Hopefully you'll subscribe. And come back for the next one. Recover loud, everyone.